All right, it is finally time to write some code to make the servos spin. So what we got to do is let's go ahead and bring up a new sketch. So I'm going to do a file, new, and I'm going to have a new sketch. And I'm going to call this is going to be, let's call it Chapter 2 Activity 6, and we'll call it Test Servos. So the first thing I want to do is I want to not close it. I want to save it. So File, New, and I'm going to go ahead and save it in our desktop Arduino folder. So File, Save, and I'll go ahead and go Desktop, and then I'll do Arduino, and then I'm going to do Chapter 2 Activity, what are we on here, 6. Okay, so we're on Activity 6, and this is going to be called Test Servos. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead, I had my Stay Still program from before. I'm going to go ahead and copy everything in it because I already wrote a lot of the code to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll close my prior one. Now at this point I should be able to save it, and I should be able to download it. So I'll go ahead and download it and make sure that it's alive. So then I'm going to pull up my serial monitor, and at this point I'm ready to, I know it works, I know it downloaded, and life is good. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Let's think about how we turn one of the servos. I want to start, I'm going to leave this stay still code right there, and let's make the left servo spin clockwise. So how do we do that? Well, you know what? I already have the code right here to send it a signal. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring these down right here, and I'm going to paste them in the loop. Okay? And what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to print myself a message that says left servo spinning clockwise. And that is going to say, okay, when I see that message, I know what's coming next. Now, how do I do it? Well, I'm going to leave the right servo at 1500, and you don't even really need to have that command in there because it's still up here. But I'm going to put in a command right here to turn this to clockwise. So what's the value that we need to do? Well, I'll go back to my little drawing here. To turn it clockwise, you need to be 1300. Okay, so 1300 microseconds. All I do is say 1300 microseconds, and that should do it. But now you think about this, it's going to be in this loop. What I'd really like to do to know that I'm controlling it well is let's tell it to spin as fast as it can clockwise for a second, and then let's stop it. So how do you do that? Well, you just simply put a delay in here. Let's delay it for 1000 milliseconds, which is a second. And at that point, let's now stop it. And how do you stop the servos? Well, the way that you stop it is you just send them both 1500 again. And I want to give myself a nice comment here, so I'm going to put stop. All right, and I want the delay in here also, because what's going to happen is it's going to sit in this loop. It'll go turn them on for a second, stop for a second, turn them on for a second, stop for a second. Let's go ahead and save and download this, and let's make sure that we can actually spin this, because we're to the point now where some really neat things are happening. Okay, so when it boots up, you see this thing kind of pin 13 flash, and that's fine. So you'll see the servo motor blip, but now we're in our program, and the way I know that we're in my program is the serial monitor is printing these things out, but look at our motor. It's spinning clockwise, and it is going for a second and stopping for a second. We did it. All right. Check out what we can start doing when we just do copy and paste. I would like now to tell it to spin counterclockwise for a second and then stop. I am simply going to copy and paste this and paste it right below. Immediately when you do that, you start looking at your code and going, wow, this is really getting hard to read. So I'm going to go ahead, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some line comments right here so that I can at least break up like my individual statements. And now I'm going to come down here, and I'll go ahead and I'm still sending to my left servo, but I'm going to do it counterclockwise. And how do I do it? Well, instead of sending it 1300, I'm going to send it 1700. And then this right here is still okay. This is the stop command. So let's see if that works. So I'm going to compile this and upload it. And here we go. And here we go. Look at it. It's going clockwise, then counterclockwise. Clockwise, counterclockwise. Clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise. It's working. Now check this out. What if I wanted to test the left motors all the way through like I just did? Let's do the right motors. I'm going to take this entire thing and turn them on and off for a second at a shot and turn them clockwise and then counterclockwise. So I copied and pasted that. I'm going to go ahead and make this my comment right servo spinning clockwise. How do I do it? Well, all I do is I change my left servo to 1500 and my right servo to 13. That's going to send the command to the right servo. And then I do my stop. It's the same. And then I do, come down here and let's change our right servo. And what I want to do is instead of sending 1700 to it, I'm going to send it 15, which is the stop, and I'll send 1700 to the right. And look at this. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I should be able to drive both motors now. Okay, so here we go. So it's downloading. Watch the little blink on there when it's downloaded. It blinked it. Here we go. So left, right, left, right? And my message tells me exactly what's going on. So we have done it. We are now writing an Arduino program to control servo motors. This is fantastic. So here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and you do it. So this is the end of the video. Go ahead and create a new sketch and do exactly what I did. Turn the left servo clockwise for a second, stop for a second. Turn it counterclockwise for a second, stop it. Then do the right one, clockwise for a second, stop for a second, counterclockwise for a second, stop for a second. Then you add code to spin both servos clockwise for a second and then stop for a second, and then spin both servos counterclockwise for a second. So you get to add that. And at every step of the way, go ahead and print the status to the serial monitors that you're going. Okay, good luck.